Hi again then guys, and welcome to another special projects replica style build. And as with the Lancia Delta Evo 2 replica, which I did around a week ago, this tune is also a relatively understated replica, but one which is definitely for the fans. For fans of this car, I think you'll definitely enjoy driving it. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Audi Quattro, but the version of the Audi Quattro which I love the most is not actually featured on the game. And that version is the Audi quattro 20v, or 20 valve. Now, it has slightly more power, and it is a quicker vehicle overall. It's also significantly more expensive in used prices. Now, as far as the visuals, I've gone for a relatively simple setup. It is a production model, so you can go for pretty much any colour you want. I've gone for the traditional white. As far as the rims, I've chosen to go for NK rims, which are called Baja. And you don't have to go for those, but they do look similar to the originals. You've also got NK tarmac rims, I believe they're called, if I remember correctly, and they both look fairly similar to the rims of the actual 20 valve Quattro. So there's no real need to go over to the visual tuning garage for this car, because it's also a non-premium, so there's no upgradable bodywork. So, as usual, we will go straight over to the mechanical tuning garage for the setup of the car, and then of course take it out to a circuit to see how it performs. Now, this is of course a street-based tune, so we've gone for sport soft tyres, and as I always try to do, it is PP relevant, which is also nice when you can get that. I mean, when a car is accurate, it's cool enough, but if you can make it actually usable at a PP level as well, then that only gets better as far as I'm concerned. Now, I've left the brakes stock because of course it is an older car and it is also a production vehicle, so although you want it to be fun, you don't want it to be too good. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height on 150 front and rear, springs on 525 and 375, the dampers and anti-roll on 3, neutral camber and tow. We'll come back to the gearbox last, as we usually do. I've left the centre diff, prop shaft, clutch and flywheel stock. As far as the diff, we've got the lowest initial torque, highest acceleration and lowest braking. As far as the power, the actual Audi 20 valve Quattro has, as I said, a little bit more power than the version which we have on the game, 220 horsepower. Now, I am running an oil change on this car, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong about that, so make sure that you double check. As far as the upgrades, we've got a stage 1 engine tune, sports computer, manifold, cat, and then reduce the power down to 85.2%. So what I'd recommend doing, as I can't quite remember if I gave it an oil change or not, is do these upgrades first, and if the power doesn't match, then give it an oil change, because obviously once you've done the oil change, you can't go back on it and that'll mess up your PP. Now, as far as the body, we've got stage 1 weight loss, carbon bonnet, because it doesn't look any different, and window weight reduction, and then we've added a 142 kilo ballast to bring us up to the actual weight of the real car, which is 1300 kilos, and then we've put that all the way to the back of the car to really improve that weight distribution and stop it from lifting the back end as much under braking. Finally, for our gearbox, we are running the actual gear ratios of the real 20 valve Quattro, as I always like to try and do if I can find those gears. So you want an auto setting of 155, then for the individual gears, 3545, 2105, 1429, 1029 and 838, with a final drive of 4110. So as I said, similar to the Delta, and that's a relatively simple replica build to do, but at the same time, like the Delta, for the fans of the car, I think you'll probably enjoy driving this. I know I'm a fan of the car, and I certainly do. So now let's finally take it out to, of course, a circuit to see how it handles and how it performs. Now, given that this car sits at 415 pp, it kind of goes without saying that it's not going to be the most competitive or fastest car in the game around any track. But at the 415 pp level, it's actually not a bad car at all. 220 horsepower, if you think about it, is actually quite a lot for such a low pp. It weighs a lot more than other, say, K cars or hot hatches at that level, but it's still a seriously quick car and very, very controlled around corners. The Quattro, of course, really put Audi on the map as far as production, performance cars, and it really lives up to that. So, if you decide to use this replica of the 20-valve Quattro, I hope, of course, you find it fun and even potentially competitive. But that's it overall for this replica build, so I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.